You don't need a mansion or a Hollywood name to leave behind a story that's more than just fame.
Me to need a will, just a family, or a cat plotting world domination. Welcome to Celebrity Estate Chaos, where we prove a lot of things. Like how estate chaos isn't just for millionaires with private islands, anyone with stuff, relatives, or that one weird collection you think nobody's fighting over. And chances are, they will.
Okay, let's unpack this. It's a really tough question, isn't it? What do you do when the person you've built your whole life with starts to forget who you are? Or maybe who you were together, but you remember every single detail.
It feels like the ultimate cosmic joke sometimes. Just incredibly cruel when memory, which is such an anchor for our shared reality, just begins to slip away.
Yeah, and it's one of the most profoundly difficult things anyone can face, I think.
Absolutely. And that reality is exactly what this deep dive is all about today. Spousal caregiving when memory and cognitive functions start to decline.
Right, whether that's from dementia, Alzheimer's, frontotemporal dementia, Parkinson's, maybe a stroke. There are many conditions.
Exactly.
So for this, we've gathered quite a stack of sources, really moving stuff, actually. We've got articles from places like Medium, Vocal, Substack, some really insightful answers on Quora.
And we've also pulled some valuable perspectives from Tina Jin's Caregiver, Emergency Preparedness and Survival book series. Really practical guidance in there.
Our goal here, really, is to try and unpack it all. Get into the raw, messy, but also, deeply loving reality of caring for a spouse whose memory is fading.
We want to pull out the most important insights, the coping strategies people use, even some surprising facts that came up across all this shared material.
It's about understanding that huge shift.
Yeah.
That move from saying, I do,
To,
suddenly realizing I have to manage absolutely everything.
yeah, that shift it's seismic. The sources really hammer this home. You go from being a partner, a soulmate, someone building a life together, to suddenly wearing all these different hats. You're the nurse, the scheduler, the advocate, the financial planner. You're managing your own grief.
You're basically the CEO of this incredibly complex one-person wellness operation.
Exactly, and there's no training manual for that.
And with that comes this undeniable loss, doesn't it? The easy rhythm you have, the inside jokes, just the back and forth that was your relationship.
It vanishes. Or it changes drastically. The sources are very clear. It becomes a full-time job. But like no other job, there's no clocking out, no overtime pay.
Right, and that sense of loss, even when your partner is physically right there beside you, that's a huge theme in the material.
It is. There's a term for ambiguous loss. It's about grieving someone who is still alive, still physically present, but they're no longer fully with you in the way they were mentally or cognitively.
It's like they haven't actually left the building, but the connection, it's fundamentally altered. One source had this really vivid description.
Oh.
Yeah, it feels like, crying in the pantry while you're just reaching for the peanut butter. Those unexpected moments of quiet, everyday heartbreak.
Wow. That really captures the isolation, doesn't it? And how grief just ambushes you in the middle of ordinary life.
Totally. And if you're feeling this, you're absolutely not alone. The statistics we found are pretty stark.
Yeah, over 12 million Americans are currently caring for a spouse dealing with chronic illness or cognitive decline.
12 million, that's huge.
It is. And consistently, studies show spousal caregivers report the highest levels of emotional burnout compared to other types of caregivers, like adult children caring for parents.
Which makes sense given that loss of partnership we were just talking about.
Exactly. And this is where looking at real-life stories, the ones woven through our sources, becomes so important.
They're not just celebrity headlines or abstract examples. They act almost like mirrors, don't they? Showing others, hey, you're not alone in feeling lost or exhausted or just completely devastated sometimes.
Absolutely. Think about someone like Emma Heming Willis, who's been so open about navigating frontotemporal dementia with Bruce Willis.
Right. The sources really highlighted her journey from partner to this fierce advocate and caregiver.
She's talked honestly about managing her own grief while at the same time leading this team of specialists and shouldering that immense emotional weight.
And the sources mention she's learning to love him in a new way, which sounds incredibly hard. Trying to maintain dignity while admitting it feels like, and this is a quote, losing her mind very slowly.
Her honesty, her willingness to be so public about the struggle, the sources suggest it makes her a kind of beacon for others on this path.
Yeah, showing what it actually looks like.
Another really poignant example is Jay Leno. stepping back to care for his wife, Mavis, who has Alzheimer's.
His quote really stuck with me. It's not about fixing, it's about staying.
So powerful. He apparently still tells her jokes.
Yeah.
Sometimes she laughs. Sometimes she thinks he's someone else entirely.
Wow.
He acknowledges, every day is different and you just have to start fresh each morning.
And that story about Tony Bennett's widow. Near the end, he might not have known her name.
But he remembered their wedding song.
Yeah. The sources called that a devastatingly beautiful and unfair reality. Music somehow being stronger than the memory loss itself.
It's heartbreaking, and these aren't just isolated cases. The sources brought up so many others.
Like Rosalind Carter's very public caregiving for Jimmy Carter towards the end.
Right, or Patricia Clarkson talking about her sister's MS journey, calling it equal parts beauty and burnout.
And that California woman whose TikTok dances with her husband who has Parkinson's went viral, using it for awareness, but also just finding moments of joy.
Yeah, finding smiles, even while, as one source put it, you might be crying while doing the laundry later.
There are stories about planning ahead, too, like Chris Hemsworth's wife, Elsa, given his genetic risk for memory issues.
An innovation born from need, the Texas man who invented a device to help his wife after her stroke.
Jackie Joyner Kersey starting a foundation after caring for her husband. That viral Reddit thread about the husband writing daily letters to his wife with early-onset Alzheimer's.
Michelle Obama talking about friends in her circle who are caregiver spouses and how they often feel invisible.
That feeling of invisibility comes up a lot.
It does. The New Jersey woman documenting the intense isolation of post-stroke care for her husband. The Canadian woman who started petitioning for better mental health support after seeing rising suicide rates among caregivers.
Wow.
Even the AARP feature about a husband who built a whole memory garden for his wife.
These examples just underscore that this experience hits everyone, doesn't it? All walks of life, different conditions.
Exactly, it doesn't discriminate.
So, okay, when you're right in the thick of this, day in, day out, how do people actually cope? What does that emotional toolkit look like?
Well, the sources talk about people often moving through stages, the initial shock or denial, then maybe frantic Googling, trying to find answers, fix it, sometimes a martyr mode phase, trying to do it all alone, maybe quiet resentment creeping in,
Understandable.
and then hopefully moving towards something closer to acceptance and adaptation. It's not linear, of course.
No, definitely not. And the survival tips shared, they're brutally honest, but so necessary.
Like the big one, lower the bar and high five anyway.
Yeah, I saw that. Celebrate the small wins.
Totally. The sources joke, if you got through the day with only 2 meltdowns and maybe 1 Jell-O-related incident,
Or just if no one is actively bleeding and you remembered to turn the oven off.
you're winning. It's about completely readjusting your definition of a successful day.
And link to that, stopping expecting thank you. That must be so hard.
It is. Because love, or its expression, might sound like silence now or confusion. It's just different.
You have to learn a new language of connection.
Pretty much. And celebrate the weird, tiny, sometimes frankly absurd wins.
Like if they remember the dog's name, break out the champagne.
Exactly. If they remember your name, call NASA, call Oprah.
Didn't call you that woman from the clinic today. Huge victory. Party time.
It sounds funny, but finding those moments is crucial. And finding your people.
Yes. Talking to other caregivers who just get it.
They're the ones who won't judge you for crying over misplaced socks or admitting you screamed into a hand towel in the bathroom.
Been there, done that, probably.
Probably. The sources really emphasize online groups, too. They're overflowing with people sharing experiences. Just being seen, being understood, is massive.
And laughter. Finding ways to laugh, even when it feels inappropriate.
It's pure survival humor, isn't it? The sources basically say, if you don't laugh, you'll explode. Or, become a TikTok cautionary tale.
Or end up sobbing in the shower trying to eat a protein bar, as one source vividly put it.
There's a dark comedy sometimes, isn't there? Like explaining what a fax machine is for the 12th time that day.
Oh gosh, yes. Creating new rituals, too, that came up.
Yeah, weird new rituals. Maybe eating ice cream on the porch, pretending it's Paris.
Or a specific morning song, a bedtime story, a daily cookie break.
A goofy dance routine. Just something, anything that says, we're still us, even though us has changed so much.
It's about managing the now, isn't it? Accepting it, even when it hurts like hell.
And giving yourself a radical permission to feel joy sometimes, without guilt. Eat the cake, walk in the sunshine, breathe.
You need that fuel.
Definitely. And anchoring yourself in the love story that was. Journaling memories, making a scrapbook, a playlist.
Those memories don't fix the present, but they're anchors. They remind you, and maybe others, what this relationship was built on.
Because the emotional whiplash is real. Devotion 1 minute, sheer despair the next. It's this constant cycle. Grief, guilt, grace, maybe a minor disaster.
Yeah. And grieving out loud seems critical.
Absolutely. Whatever that looks like for you. Therapy, journaling, crying in the car, the bathroom, the laundry room, wherever you can find space.
The source is really stressed. You are allowed to miss your partner, the person they were, while you are actively caring for the person they are now. Those feelings can coexist.
They have to coexist, which brings us to another really tricky area highlighted in the sources, dealing with family involvement.
Or often the lack of involvement, right? That feeling of, where are the siblings? Where's cousin Linda who's always posting from Bali?
Exactly. Feeling like you're starring in a one-person show that was definitely written for a full cast.
Why is that so common, do you think? The sources had ideas.
A few things. Sometimes family members genuinely don't know how to help. They might be scared or overwhelm themselves.
Or they just assume the spouse, has it covered.
That's a big one. The assumption that the person closest is handling it all.
So the strategies offered were pretty direct.
They have to be, often. Forget vague requests like, can anyone help this weekend? Be specific.
Right. Can you come sit with Dad Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. so I can run errands? Or can you take the Tuesday morning shift so I can actually get some sleep?
Make it concrete. Use shared systems, too. Things like Caring Bridge, a shared Google Calendar, group chats, even a simple Google Sheet.
Make the workload visible, make the needs clear.
If it's not scheduled, one source said, it probably won't happen.
Sounds about right. Holding a family meeting was another suggestion.
Yeah, lay it all out. Explain the illness, the day-to-day reality, the specific needs. Set expectations, let them actually see the weight you're carrying.
And frame the request around empathy, not just guilt.
Well, the sources did acknowledge that sometimes creative guilt or sarcasm can be a coping mechanism.
The just finished my 12-hour shift with Dad, what did you guys do today? Approach.
Or, as one source put it, unleash your inner Emma Heming Willis. Do it with class, sarcasm, and backup granola bars.
Love it. But setting emotional boundaries is key too, isn't it? Early on.
Crucial. You advocate for your needs, but you can't control how others respond or if they step up. Protect your own peace. You're not responsible for managing everyone else's feelings about the situation.
That's hard, though.
Incredibly hard, and facing the truth that sometimes some family members just won't come through.
Yeah. The sources remind you that's not your fault. It's not a reflection on you or your worth.
You hold on to the ones who do help tightly. And as one source quipped, every unhelpful relative can at least be repurposed as a potential grocery delivery service.
Yeah. Okay, so let's circle back to that ambiguous loss idea. Managing the relationship as it evolves. Holding hands with someone who feels mentally distant. That living loss.
It's constant, isn't it? The advice is really about grieving repeatedly, in waves, as it comes.
And finding new ways to connect, focusing on what's still there.
Exactly. Is it music? Touch? Just quiet shared moments. Maybe familiar meals. Simple walks. Presence often remains powerful, even when specific memories fade.
And keeping those tangible memory aids around the jar of notes, the photo wall helps honor the past love story alongside the current reality.
It reminds everyone, yourself included, we were more than just this diagnosis, acknowledging the before while navigating the now.
And critically, finding your own identity again, outside of being the caregiver.
Yes. Reclaiming parts of yourself, reading a book, taking a walk, writing, seeing friends, prioritizing self-care, even tiny bits. You still deserve your own life, your own moments.
The sources are really realistic here. You might never fully get over this kind of loss.
No, probably not. But you learn to walk beside it, gently, with grace, with tears, absolutely, but also with this incredible strength you somehow find along the way.
It's quite something. And what I found really fascinating was how the sources reframed the act of caregiving itself.
Oh, yeah. How
It's
so?
a form of leadership,
Yeah.
intense leadership.
I see that. Not boardroom leadership, but living room leadership.
Exactly. They literally translated caregiving tasks into corporate equivalents. It was brilliant.
Okay, give me some examples.
Right, so managing complex medication schedules and endless appointments, that's high-level executive calendar coordination.
Okay, I can see that.
Coordinating with multiple doctors, therapists, specialists, that's stakeholder management.
Mm-hmm.
Handling sudden emotional outbursts or moments of confusion, that's crisis communication, live and unfiltered.
Definitely.
Advocating for resources, battling insurance, finding support. That's procurement and negotiation under pressure.
Wow. Okay.
And, my personal favorite, surviving on questionable amounts of caffeine.
Standard corporate protocol.
Exactly. The point being, if you're doing this stuff, you're operating at a C-suite level. You're a project manager dealing with the most unpredictable, high-stakes human project imaginable.
It requires huge emotional intelligence too, doesn't it? Staying calm, patient, grounded, even when your own heart is breaking and you're losing that companionship.
It's leading with empathy, resilience, and incredible flexibility day after day.
The real KPI, as one source called it, the key performance indicator, it's not profit margins, it's just showing up.
Yeah, it's not glamorous. There are no bonuses, no award ceremonies for changing diapers or handling a difficult phone call with grace.
But that kind of leadership, it's profoundly changing lives. One calm moment, one crisis handled, one lukewarm cup of coffee at a time.
So when we pull it all together, looking across these sources, the reality of spousal caregiving is undeniably brutal.
It's messy, it feels unfair, it's incredibly lonely at times, and it is relentless. It demands, the patience of a saint, the strength of a CrossFit champion.
And maybe, let's be honest, a level of questionable emotional stability just to get through the day.
Probably true. But the sources also show us the other side of that coin. That it's also fierce, it's quiet, it's raw, it's sometimes ridiculous, it's warrior-level love.
It's not built on perfect memory anymore, is it? It's built on presence, on loyalty, on the simple act of brushing someone's hair or just staying.
You keep showing up, you adapt, you find those moments to laugh somehow. And when they forget you, maybe for a moment or longer, you remember for both of you.
That's not weakness. That's incredible power. That's love.
So if you're listening and this is your reality, please hear this. You are not weak. You are absolutely, definitely not alone.
You're navigating probably the hardest chapter imaginable, and you are likely doing so much better than you give yourself credit for.
Your love story didn't just end when the diagnosis came. It started a new chapter. A different chapter, yes, but still rooted in that same love.
Love evolves, doesn't it? It adapts. It wears sweatpants now. It cries in the minivan or the laundry room.
It might smell vaguely of hand sanitizer and sound like medical alarms going off.
But it is still love. And it looks like you.
Exactly.
So maybe here's a final thought to mull over based on everything we've talked about from these sources. If love truly doesn't stop when memory fades, would completely new forms of presence or connection or even unexpected joy can you find or create right there in the middle of the loss?
And how can holding on to the memory of the love that was actually fuel the incredible courage you need for the love that is?
Powerful questions. And remember, we drew from a lot of great material for this deep dive.
Yeah.
Those caregiver books, the articles from Medium, Vocal, Substack, Quora.
Those resources are out there. They exist to offer more tools, more stories, and that really vital sense of support if you're looking for it.
Because connecting with this community, engaging with ideas like the ones we discussed, it really can help you find solidarity.
It's just a powerful reminder that none of us truly have to walk this path feeling completely alone.
That's a wrap for today's chaos. If you learned something, laughed a little, or now feel slightly more prepared for life's curveballs, we've done our job. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. Catch us on Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere podcasts make you rethink your to-do list. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, if it's important and unexpected, we probably cover it. Stay safe, stay curious, and we'll see you next time.